and welcome back to goldstocktrades.com. Today we have a returning guest with us, Jason Weber. Jason's the CEO of Alianza Minerals, which can be traded as ANZ on the TSX Venture. It's a prospect generator. We're going to talk about some of the projects today and get an update from Jason, who's the CEO. Thank you, Jason, for being here with us today and for giving us this timely update on Alianza Minerals.
Yeah, thank you, Jeb.
Well, let's first talk about the projects. I think it's really important for us to get an update on some of the near-term catalysts, some of the excitement. I know this Horse Thief property in Nevada that you're working with Hochschild, who's a mid-tier producer, but there's a lot of new people into the mining sector. So could you explain about this project and Hochschild, who you're working with, and the significance of this project and your partner that is starting to get drilled and worked on? I think it might be already starting to be worked on now.
Yeah, so it's I guess if you looked at our project portfolio right now, Horse Thief would probably be considered our tier one or flagship project, and that's probably more a case of it's the one that's active right now, so it's going to generate the nearest term news. We announced last week that we'd mobilized to site to start that program. We're expecting the drill to arrive any day now and get that underway. But as you mentioned, we're partnered with Hochschild Mining. They're an LSE traded company, but largely based in Peru, and recently they've been expanding outside of Peru and Latin America. They've got some mines in Mexico, and they've been snapping up exploration projects and forming partnerships throughout North America. We had the Horse Thief partnership start last year. We did some groundwork, defined some drill targets, and that's led to the program that we just commenced right now. But they're also working on other exploration projects throughout the States and into Canada as well.
Right. Well, Nevada is an exciting district right now, especially with gold taking off here and this rising price and these majors and mid-tiers looking for new discoveries. What do you think that attracted Hochschild to Horse Thief? I know that from my analysis, there's many similarities early stage to Long Canyon, which my investors may remember was taken out. Frontier Gold was taken out by Newmont for over $2 billion in the last cycle. I think 2012, they were taken out for that major gold mine and that they discovered. But there are some similarities. Could you discuss some of those highlights and that what might have attracted Hochschild to this project?
Yeah, and I think there's a couple sort of facets to their partnership with us. One is I think they were looking to get more involved in Nevada. They like Nevada as a place to explore, but traditionally they were more of a silver focused company, and they were looking at getting into more of the gold space as well. So Nevada is an obvious place to go when you're thinking about gold exploration, and they really being from outside North America, they're looking to get a foothold in the state. So largely that means partnering with companies that already have ground, and they did that. They've done that with us and a few other companies. But I think what was probably very enticing to them was the fact that you've got new ground here, essentially, that the last round of drilling that was done here was in the 1980s, and it was very shallow, largely before the sediment-hosted gold deposits in Nevada were well understood. So the targets they were drilling aren't the targets we're drilling now. We have a better understanding of them. And as far as the Long Canyon comparison goes, we took the project on essentially 2016, and when we looked at it originally, we thought, geez, this looks like it could be the same rocks that host Long Canyon, similar age. You're further east than the sort of big trends or the most well-known trends in Nevada, like the Carlin trend, which most of the, or many of the big gold deposits have been discovered. And so when you look, sort of going further east and you follow that trend of rock south, that leads right down into the Horse Thief area, which for us is, we're right adjacent to the Utah border in the southern part of the state. So that's one aspect of it. But then all the work that we've done since has really only helped build that story and strengthen that Long Canyon comparison. Some of the key features at Long Canyon geologically that are seen, the presence of karst caves. These are cave systems that existed during the time, back in the sort of the Cambrian Ordovician boundary, which is where these rocks age. And these cave systems created plumbing or fluid flow conduits so that when the gold bearing systems were in place, there was an easy route for those fluids to flow. And so these caves become a localizing structure for gold deposition. And at Long Canyon, those become points of focus for high grade mineralization. So that got exciting for us when we started to see evidence of these cave systems present at Horse Thief and these collapse, karst collapse breccias, we call them. We started to get excited, and then when we pinned down the age of the rocks to right at the Cambrian Ordovician boundary, that's when we started. Okay, this is looking very similar. So I can step back and as a geologist say we have some of the same geological characteristics that form Long Canyon. What we don't know is if that the gold system that was active here was big enough to create an economic gold deposit. And that's the focus of our next program, is to start to investigate that.
Well, that's exciting, and it's an exciting time for Nevada and for a new gold system, for a new discovery, especially for mid-tier. So we'll be following that. But there's so much in your portfolio I'd like to discuss as well. Silver's had a major breakout recently, and there's talk about silver in Keno Hill, and there being a lot more silver up in Keno Hill district. Could you talk to us about the project, the Haldane project that you drilled last year? Will you be doing any further work on that, especially now in light of the silver breakout and maybe more interest? Some people are even discussing there may be another Yukon, silver gold rush if prices continue. In Canada right now, I think gold is up to 2,500 right now. So talk to us about that project and Keno Hill. Is there potential for that to maybe get advanced this summer?
Yeah, so that Haldane would be our next project right behind Horse Thief, and some would argue that Haldane is the primary focus of the company, and Horse Thief would take a back seat to it. So, which is great. That's great for us to have two projects like that that can be front and center. Haldane, that project sits adjacent to Alexco's Keno Hill land package, which is very large, and Alexco was very good last year. Hosted basically a short course for geologists from all over at site, and they toured us around to the different deposits, and we looked at different rocks and what was hosting them and what kind of structures, and it was very, very good. And this was done right before we started our drill program at Mount Haldane, so we actually stayed in our camp and drove to Keno for the couple days to learn more about it, and the geologist crew at Alexco was just fantastic for imparting their knowledge onto us, which was really exciting because at our project Haldane, we're in the same rocks that host Keno. It's which is very apparent. They're quite distinctive units. But sometimes figuring out where you are in the stratigraphic package, which is very important, can be a little bit challenging. So some of the stuff we picked up from them was great. But probably the biggest takeaway I had was after that little short course was the amount of exploration potential in the Keno Hill district was phenomenal. And so that was really exciting because we have a fairly large land package. We're on the western edge, very underexplored, hasn't really been looked at since really the 1960s. There's a little bit of work done since then, but lots of potential. In fact, we proved that by making a new discovery at what we call the Bighorn Zone, which was 3 kilometers away from the known silver mineralization that the old timers had found back in the 1920s. This was undercover. We found it with some soil geochemistry, did some drilling, and discovered new vein structures that are well, they're more than anomalous in gold. I wouldn't call them ore grade yet, but certainly we're into gold or silver bearing structures that warrant follow up. So that was really exciting. We have other targets to follow up. So definitely Haldane would be a project that we'd love to get to later this summer.
And you have another project that you're looking for another Silvertip at this TIM project that you're partnered with Core. Is there any update on that project?
Yeah, so Core recently signed the agreement with us to explore the TIM project, and essentially we're I think 12 kilometers from the Silvertip mine. We're right at the Yukon British Columbia border. Their mine's actually on the British Columbia side. We're on the Yukon side. So if they make a discovery here, this is it would be a fantastic scenario for us because you'd be just probably trucking ore right from there to their existing mill facilities. So the prospects of permitting and timelines for financing, all that are completely changed if they find something here. So I'm just in the process of getting a permit for them to start work on that. The road access needs a little bit of fixing up. So we'll have to do that. But the program this year will be going into some of the old trenching dating back to the 1980s and re-examining those, mainly in light of sort of what they know about the geology at Silvertip and sort of taking that and applying it to TIM, which we're in the same rocks. So, there's a pretty direct application of that knowledge onto our property.
Mm. So you see a company here, the Alianza Minerals, ANZ on the TSX venture. We have Jason Weber, who's the CEO. They're partnered with in Nevada with Hochschild. They have a project that they have with Core. They're in really exciting districts like the Keno Hill and in Nevada. And are there any other projects that you'd like to highlight or potential acquisitions or things that investors in Alianza or prospective investors should, what's the benefit of owning a prospect generator like Alianza that has these partnerships with these majors and mid-tiers, and what should they be looking forward to? Any other projects or acquisitions?
Yeah, certainly, with everything that's gone on with COVID-19 and just sort of adapting the way we do business, I think it's sort of given me an opportunity to go through a bunch of new projects or potential new projects and sort of pick out the ones I think we want to add to our portfolio. And the importance for that for me is if you're going to be a company that joint ventures with, particularly producers, you want to have a continuous conveyor belt of projects. The idea is that not every project's going to hit. So you're going to partner. Project's going to go nowhere. You're not going to keep it and hang on to it forever. You're going to replace that with another project, another sort of good quality exploration target, good geological targets on it, and find a partner to explore that. So for me, identifying new projects to bring into the portfolio has been really important, and I'm working on a couple of those right now. One I hope to have wrapped up fairly soon, which I think is a really exciting one, and I think we'd get a partner on it fairly quickly if we can get the deal done. So that's the kind of prospect for us going forward, is bringing in these new projects, keep that conveyor belt. Then there's multiple opportunities for our investors to be involved with a discovery. If we're drilling 2 projects this year, that's two discovery opportunities. If we're doing that by ourselves, funding everything by ourselves, we probably can't do both. So that's the advantage of being the prospect generator.
Right. Well, it sounds like it's a busy time for you guys.
Yes, it is. Lots of fun.
Well, Jason Weber, CEO, Alianza Minerals. You can get more information at alianzaminerals.com. ANZ on the TSX Venture. Jason Weber's the CEO. Thank you so much for being here with us today and for giving us an update at this exciting time.
Jeb, it's my pleasure, and I'll be back anytime.